This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
By way of introduction, I would like to begin this trip by offering gratitude to Ribbon Shalom for affording me the opportunity to take part in this wondrous experience, to relive our past, to connect with our history in such an extraordinary way with such exceptional people. It's really a thrill of a lifetime to go on this trip, led by the renowned Maggid, Rabbi Pesach Krohn, who I'm sure everybody saw, just came out with another soon-to-be bestseller. And I saw the slogan of the book is, the Maggid is back better than ever. But ve'enoi doime shmiya l'riyah. So everybody on this trip will be experiencing the Maggid, and I assure you that the research and the enthusiasm and the excitement and the Kedusha that Rabbi Krohn will bring to us will be something that we will all remember for the rest of our lives. I want to thank Eli Slamowitz and Moshe Portnoy for giving me once again another opportunity to be on one of these trips. They're really the mastermind behind every detail of the trip. Weeks and months go into maximizing every day and every hour and every moment of the experience, and it's something that I'm sure none of us will ever forget. I do want to take the opportunity to welcome my dear friend Rabbi Aaron Subar, who is a partner of mine in disseminating our Shiurim. Rabbi Aaron will be videoing a lot of the Shiurim and posting them on TorahAnytime.com as soon as possible. And so if the hour is late and sometimes people doze off, don't worry about it. You'll catch it online after the trip. Okay, Morav Rabbi, fasten your seatbelts. I want you to go back to the year 1978, Tafshin Lamed Ches. Maran Rabbi Ovadia Yosef was given an invitation to come visit the Spanish Kehillah here in Spain. And in the context of that visit, he was invited by King Juan Carlos. King Juan Carlos reigned as King of Spain from 1975 to the year 2014. In 2014, King Juan Carlos abdicated to his son, King Felipe VI. Now, Rabbi Ovadia had a profound respect for King Juan Carlos. Not only as a world monarch, not only as a powerful figure, but Rabbi Ovadia respected Juan Carlos as a chacham, as a sagacious, very wise man. To the point where if you look in the Sefer, Shiur Rishon L'Tzion, Chelek Aleph, page Beis, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef had a great dilemma of what he should do upon meeting King Juan Carlos. Because Rabbi Ovadia held he was a world monarch, and therefore he needs to make the bracha, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shecholak mikevoidoi lebasar v'dam, a bracha that you make on a monarch, on an emperor, on a president. However, Rabbi Ovadia held that this Juan Carlos was such a chacham and such a sage that he should also make the bracha, shecholak mechachmasoi lebasar v'dam. So he wasn't sure, should he make one bracha, should he make two brachas, should he make both brachas? And Rabbi Ovadia paskined, and he recorded this, that he should be mitzaref both brachas into one. And at that historic meeting, when Rabbi Ovadia met King Juan Carlos, Rabbi Ovadia said, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shecholak mikevoidoi v'chachmasoi lebasar v'dam. And at that historic meeting, King Carlos posed the following question to Rabbi Ovadia. He says, Chacham, is there any difference in the Torah between the Torah of Ashkenazim and the Torah of Sephardim? So Rabbi Ovadia said, no, there's no difference at all. Fundamentally, we're exactly the same. There are just minor discrepancies and minor differences in practices that are not really that critical. By the way, Rabbi Ovadia writes as a side point that when he came into the palace, he noticed he came in with his Rebbetzin. And the Rebbetzin was so tired and so famished and so flushed, and it was very stuffy in the palace because the windows were closed. And the queen of King Juan Carlos, got out of her chair, opened up the windows for the Rebbetzin, and at that moment, Rabbi Ovadia says this was the kiyum of the Haftacha of the Navi, in Yeshaya Perek Chavtes, V'hoyu melachim oimnayich v'sareisem v'neikoisayich, that queens will serve you. Says Rabbi Ovadia, that was Neskayim when the Queen of Spain got up to serve my wife, the Rebbetzin Ovadia Yosef. At that point, King Carlos turns to Rabbi Ovadia, and he said, I would like to express my sincere regret for what happened 500 years ago, in the time of the Spanish Inquisition. He said, you should know that I'm personally familiar that many Jews ran away to Amsterdam in Holland, and they published a Bible in Amsterdam. And I actually own a copy of one of the original Bibles that were published in Amsterdam. Said King Juan Carlos, I learn from that Bible every day, and I recognize the greatness of the wisdom of the Jewish people. The king then turns to Rabbi Ovadia and asks a very strong kasha. Fragt King Juan Carlos to Rabbi Ovadia, Chacham, please tell me, how many Sephardim live today in Eretz Yisrael? So Rabbi Ovadia says, how many Sephardim? Half the Jewish population today in Eretz Yisrael are Sephardim. Sephardim include Edus HaMizrach, Jews from Iraq, from Bavel, from Paras, from Iran, from Egypt, from Morocco, from Syria, from Taiman. They're all considered Sephardim. And at this point, King Carlos asked Rabbi Ovadia a stunning question. King Carlos asked, why would a Jew from Yemen call himself a Sephardi? He was never in Spain. Sephardi means Spaniard. He's been in Taiman since the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash. Why would a Jew from Iran call himself Sephardi? His ancestors were never in Spain. Why would a Jew from Morocco call himself Sephardi? Why would Edus HaMizrach? Sephardi are Jews who were in Spain. Why do all these Jews call themselves Sephardim? And Rabbi Ovadia gave an answer that I want to use as the guiding light of the trip that we're on today. And Rabbi Ovadia printed this in his Hakdama to the Sefer Ma'or Yisrael and Chelek Gimel. It says, Rabbi Ovadia, our nation is different than any other nation. Every other nation, you are a resident of the country that you live in, but not by Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is not dependent on geographic location. Klal Yisrael is dependent on the Torah, like Rav Sadia Gaon writes, Ein umaseinu uma ela b'Torah. Who is the greatest sage of all Spanish history? Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimon, the Rambam. Just as an aside, we know the Rambam was born in the year 1135. Tough Tzaddik Hey. Tough Tzaddik Hey. 4895. Just it's half of a fellow. We have a Messiah from the Vilna Gaon. That how many psukim are in Chamisha Chumshei Torah? 5,845 psukim, some say 846 psukim. What's the significance of the number of psukim in the Chumash? 5,845. That's the number of years from Brias Ha'olam until the end of the world, says the Vilna Gaon. The number of psukim, each pasuk corresponds to another year of the world. The Rambam was born in the year 4,895. If you open up the Chumash and you turn to the 4,895th pasuk, you get the pasuk in Devarim, Hayol Moshe Be'er Es HaTorah Hazois Leimar. A remez to the Rambam. Moshe ben Maimon began to explain the Torah in the year 4895. Says Rabbi Ovadia, you know why all these Jews are called Sephardim? Because they've all been makabel upon themselves to follow the psak of the Rambam. Not because they come from Spain, not because they're connected to Spain, not because anyone they know ever lived in Spain. Because they all follow the psak of the Rambam. Be it a Yid from Morocco, from Syria, from Baghdad, from Iran, from Edus HaMizrach. They're all makabel the psak of the Rambam. Says Rabbi Ovadia, Vayitav hadavar b'yeinei hamelech. The king was beaming that the Chachma of Spain spread throughout the whole world, and the king gave Rabbi Ovadia a special present. We'll discuss later on the trip what was the present that the king of Spain gave Rabbi Ovadia. But this is an insight I want you to carry with you throughout the trip. To know what our shoresh is, to know where we come from. We come not from where we live, we come from the Gedolim that we follow. When you think of a city, the significance of a city is based on the Gedolim who lived in that city. Cordova is important for no other reason than the fact that the Rambam was born in Cordova. Barcelona. Ellie, what was the original advertisement for this trip? Dream Team. Dream Team, 1992, Barcelona Olympics was called Dream Team. No, that's not what Barcelona is known for. Barcelona is the city of the Rajba. The Rajba wrote more than 10,000 tshuvos in Barcelona. We only have about 3,000 tshuvos of the Rajba. We only have 8 volumes. He wrote 24 volumes of tshuvos in the city of Barcelona. The city of Seville. Most people, when they think of Seville, they think of the barber of Seville. Next time you think of Seville, Rav Yom Tov di Ashevili, or Asavili. In Arabic, Asavili is the Ritva of Seville. When you think of Seville, you think of the Ritva, that Vudraham, Rav David of Seville. Well, I'm going to give you a little test. There's an English expression about a city in Spain, Toledo. No? What's the expression of Toledo? Holy Toledo. And Hafla Vafela, nobody knows why it's called Holy Toledo. Here are the 2 best Perushim. It's not Toledo, Spain, it's Toledo, Ohio. Why Toledo, Ohio? Either because Toledo has the most churches of any city in the United States, or it's Lashon Saginar. There are more bars in the city of Toledo than anywhere in the world, and as sarcastically, it's called Holy Toledo. But I am here today to tell you the definitive pshat in Holy Toledo. Like Rabbi Krohn mentioned, Holy Toledo is the city of the Rosh. In the year 1303, the Rosh has to flee Germany after his Rabbi, the Marami Rothenberg, died in prison, and the Rosh figured he was next. So he leaves Germany in the year 1303. He comes to Barcelona in 1306. The Rajba sends him to Toledo. Okay, so why is it Holy Toledo? Why not Holy Barcelona? I have to share with you a Yediyah Chashuva. Maran Bet Yosef, the Beis Yosef, Yosef Karo, he had a malach who came to learn with him. And he recorded everything the malach taught him. And Parshas Vayakel, the Beis Yosef writes that the Magid told him, of all the Rishonim, Asher Kadishi, the Rosh is the holiest. Asher Kadishi. Then I realized, Nivu v'lo ma Nivu. That's why it's called Holy Toledo. Because the Rosh, Asher Kadishi, was the Rav of Toledo. So you heard it here first. But as we mentioned the Beis Yosef. Everybody knows that the guiding principle of the Beis Yosef in Psak Halacha was he took the 3 Amudei Olam. He took the Rosh, he took the Rif, and he took the Rambam. And 2 out of 3, the Beis Yosef, 99% of the time follows. And it struck me, the Hashgacha Pratis, that the 3 of the greatest Rishonim, the Rosh, the Rif, and the Rambam, they all taught Torah in Spain, not Eretz Yisrael. The Rambam, of course, was born in Cordova. The Rosh, we mentioned, came to Toledo 1306. Even the Rif left Morocco in 1189. He comes to Lucena, Spain. He's Rosh Hashiva for 14 years. He teaches Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. To me, it struck me in a very piercing way that the 3 greatest of the Rishonim should teach Torah not in Eretz Yisrael, in Spain. All 3 of them. And then I realized, wait a second, the Shulchan Aruch himself was born in Spain in 1488. It's amazing. That means the 4 greatest all-time poskim, the Rosh, the Rif, the Rambam, and the Shulchan Aruch, they all came from Spain. They all were Marbetz Torah in Spain. That means the shoresh of halacha is this country. And I'm thinking to myself, of course we know the Torah begins, Bereshis bara Elokim, God created the Torah, Bereshis. Rashi says, Bereshis b'shvil Torah shenikra Reshis. That means Hashem created the world for the Torah. That means somewhere in Bereshis, there has to be a remez to the primacy and the centrality of the Torah of Spain. So where in Bereshis do we see that Spain is considered the shoresh of Torah? And then the Rebbeinu Shalom sent me a matana min hashamayim. On day 3 of creation, Vayikra Elokim layabasha eretz, Hashem called the dry land earth, ulemikvei hamayim, and to the gathering of water, what does the pasuk say? Kara yamim. He called seas. So Rashi's bothered by Akasha. Why is it called seas? It should be Kara Yam. All the water is one entity. Why does it say Kara Yamim? Rashi asks, V'haloi yam echad hu. It's one sea. Listen to the words of Rashi. Einoi doime tamdog ha'olam min hayam ba'akoi. Letamdog ha'olam min hayam ba'aspamya. The reason why it's called yamim is because fish at Akko tastes different than fish in Aspamia. Where's Aspamia? Medrash Rabbi says Aspamia is a northern region of the Mediterranean. But the Mizrahi, Rabbi Yoel Mizrahi says, no, Aspamia is the water by Spain. So listen to Rashi and Bereshis. The Torah calls the seas Yamim. Why? Because fish taste differently in Israel than they do outside of your window tomorrow morning in Spain. And I'm thinking to myself, this is what the Torah says in the beginning of the Torah. The Torah is giving me water tasting information. The Torah is telling me water tastes different in Eretz Yisrael than it tastes in Spain. Who cares? This is what Hashem put in the beginning of the Torah. Eino doimet tamdog ha'oila bayam bayakoi the tamdog ha'oila bayam ba'aspamya. And then it hit me. The Zohar HaKadosh says, when the Rebbeinu Shalom took the water and he made the rakia and he separated between the mayim elyonim and the mayim hatachtonim, the Zohar says, what's the mayim elyonim and what's the mayim tachtonim? Says the Zohar, the mayim elyonim ein mayim elo Torah. So there's one Torah. What's mayim elyonim? What's mayim tachtonim? The Zohar says mayim elyonim is the Torah shebechsav. That's the Torah in Shamayim. There's no human intervention. It's immutable. There's nothing we could do to change, to interpret. The Torah Shebechsav is black and white. It's Mayim Elyonim. But then there's Mayim Tachtoinim. Mayim Tachtoinim is the Torah Shebal Peh. Torah Shebal Peh is given here Ba'aretz. It's given to the Chachmei Yisrael to interpret, to understand, to use the Yud Gimel Mido Sha'atar Nedrashas Behem. But comes the third day of creation, and the Rebbeinu Shalom now makes the Mayim Tachtoinim, he further subdivides it into two. And he calls the Mayim Tachtoinim Yamim. And what are the two Yamim? The Yam of Eretz Yisrael and the Yam of Spain. Meaning they're two Chalokim of Torah Shebal Peh. There's the Torah of Eretz Yisrael and there's the Torah of Spain. That means from the beginning of the Bria, it was already predetermined that there are different parts of the world that contribute different types of Torah, different flavors of Torah, different shades, different dimensions of Torah. There's the Torah of Eretz Yisrael and there's the Torah of Spain. And what the Torah is telling us is that even though all Torah is delicious, and all Torah is delectable, and all Torah is special, the Torah of Spain is a unique Torah. And that's the Torah that we came on this trip to savor, to taste of, to experience. We came to taste the Tam Dog Ha'oila B'Yam Me'aspamya. It's a different Torah. It's the Torah of the Rosh, the Rif, the Rambam, the Shulchan Aruch. It's the Halacha. And that's a tremendous Chiddush that the Rebbeinu Shalom already programmed into the beginning of Brias Shamayim V'Aretz. That Ula Mikveh Hamayim Kara Yamim. And it's a Torah Eretz Hashem that we hope to take with us for the rest of our lives. Look forward to getting to know everyone, Eretz Hashem. Thank you for listening. Have a good night. Shkoyach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.